Hi, everybody. This is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado. Always warm, always sunny, sometimes Colorado. Hey, the point of today's broadcast is that I read a very fun article that just came out about an hour ago from Cointelegraph, and it's entitled Cardano Foundation Will Preserve Its Independence, says new CEO, from our good friend Michael Kapelkov. And it's your standard Cointelegraph special. These are always fun articles. And I figured let's talk about governance and independence, and let's talk about how things go. When you create a decentralized ecosystem, what's so amazing about it is that every day the ecosystem gets to a point where you as a founder are no longer relevant, in that you're not necessary for that ecosystem to survive. So Rich Hickey, for example, he created Clojure, a programming language, and for a long time it was like a toddler. If you didn't feed it, it would die. It lived in his basement on a laptop. And then somewhere along the way, he releases it to the world, and now everybody's using Clojure. And he has a custodial company, Cognitech, that goes and builds up Clojure, and he really cares about it and works on it. It's as much the community's as it is his. It's the same for Martin Odersky with Scala. It's the same with Linus Torvalds for Linux. You release things into the world, and there's a veneration as a founder, but there's no special rights beyond that concept of first amongst equals, And the cool thing about where Cardano has gone is that we went from an idea on a whiteboard, things like those glass boards, to actually a real ecosystem with different constituencies. And what's nice about having different constituencies is that each of those constituencies have different visions and trade-offs. And Fred is a really good guy, and he mentioned this in the interview he did with Michael, where he said, hey, sometimes Charles is going to go left and I'm going to go right. And the reality is that should happen. It needs to happen for us to get to the next level. I created my company not to make money. It's great to make it, but I have enough of it. I don't really need to worry about that. I created my company because we believe in the vision of economic identity, giving people a decentralized economic identity that has values, principles behind it. So every piece of infrastructure that we work on it with principles. And Cardano was no different in that respect. And we said we would like this to be the platform that when we're doing deals with the Rohingya or with Sudanese refugees, or we're doing deals in Rwanda, wherever it might be, whatever the particular circumstance it is, this is the platform that's going to work with us and enable that. Now, that's my personal mission and my company's mission, vision, and goals, and it's why we have so many amazing people at IO Global who wake up every day and are very passionate. Guys, when you talk about the best, they can work for the best, and you're never going to be able to motivate them with money. There's always someone who can pay more. You motivate them with a belief and philosophy that the places you're going, the things you're doing, the vision you have is going to make the world a better place, that there's real reason and meaning behind the work that they have. That's the key. And so we try to do that, and that's what we tell our people. But Cardano is like the internet. It's open infrastructure. So while that's my story and my vision and where I want to go and the types of products and services we're going to construct, there are people who say, wait a minute here, this blockchain is going to be a powerhouse for the Fortune 500. This blockchain is going to really kick all these people who want to do commercial blockchains in the teeth and take a big bite out of Corda and Fabric sandwiches. There's a lot of stuff here. And so they perhaps want to go and pursue that direction. And there are other people who look at this and say, this is going to be the perfect thing for my video game. And another person's going to look at that and say, this is the perfect thing to help implement a track and trace solution because I have adulterated meat in my supply chain. I need to solve that. Who's right? We all are. That's the point of independence. The protocol does not give special permissions and privileges and power to one constituency over another. It's open for you all, or else it's open for none. That's really why we built things the way we did. And ultimately, the arbitrator of the priorities and the direction and these other things we like to believe were important, the Charles Hoskinsons of the world and others, and we're not. At the end of the day, it's you, the community, that will decide. People often ask, when does my involvement end? For the first generation, it's when we are in a position where you, the community, have that power and that capability. And those tools exist. And at that point, it's my job to pitch to you, the community, the very smart community, where we'd like to take it and what value comes out of that. And ultimately, you'll decide. And it's not us alone. You know, there are so many great companies that are working with us. Runtime Verification, Well-Typed, Twig, ATIX, Vacuum Labs, just to name a few. And there's dozens more throughout the years that have come and gone or still here, or they do very specific things. Everything from making sure your ledger device works to building a beautiful front end for something. And you know what will happen when we enter next year? That'll increase. Dozens more will come. And we'll have, just like Linux has, with 80 plus companies doing core work, the same will be the case for Cardano. And we'll have a certain veneration because we created it, but we don't have any special privileges in that respect. And that's what I think independence means in a certain respect. It's not saying that there's a new governing body in town and they're going to lord and dominate and tell people where Cardano is going to go. I would be the first to fork that protocol and let them burn themselves to the ground. And everybody who's trying to pursue proprietary software is learning that in our industry. How are those patents working out, those who pursue them? And how's your adoption working out? No, it's rather to be a shepherd, a custodian, making sure that there's a golden source of truth and that we have the right tools for you, the community, to work effectively together. You know, I'm a big fan of the Cardano effect. I think it's a great piece of work. And what was so cool to see is how much pushback is happening on IdeaScale about the proposal that they put in. Because they said, you know, we're the Cardano effect. Everybody loves us. They submit their bid. And a lot of people are saying, work harder. You have to justify why you want this money. And that's just amazing if you really think about it. It really is. It's these guys who have such a profoundly good reputation and relationship with the ecosystem, and even they are not above justification in that respect. And of course, I assume they will refine and iterate their proposal, and there will be a negotiation there. And by the time it gets to a vote, I suspect it'll be a much stronger product for them and for us as a community. And that gives me a lot of hope as we work to the future and we look to 2021 and 2022 and these other things about the types of fights and negotiations we're going to have and where the friction is going to come from. So that, in essence, is an example of a cryptocurrency at its best, a currency that takes its community seriously, a cryptocurrency that believes in the best in people and believes that when we work together, we can always achieve greater things than when we work alone. And you're with me on that journey together. There's a lot more work to do on our side, and we've certainly achieved quite a bit. And, you know, in the coming weeks and months, you'll see a lot of cool stuff we've been thinking about for years rolling out. But what is most exciting is the next 5 years, because that is the time it's going to take to get us to really be the platform that will bank the unbanked. We will get there one way or another. And I think Cardano has been built with a unique advantage to make that happen, because it's so appealing to governments, it's so appealing to the developing world and to other people. And there's just so much infrastructure we've been building that works so beautifully with this, like the Hydras of the world and the Prisms of the world and other ideas, you know, for example, oracles and so forth. So, you know, there's a lot of work to go, a lot more to do. But it's nice to see that the foundation's waking up and it's starting to develop its own identity and personality. And like us, they'll have their own vision and mission. Perhaps it'll be more oriented on the business side than the economic identity side. And that's great, because that means we'll get more use and adoption in those circles. And each and every person who comes on board values all of us, improves the system for all of us. And I don't think we'll have much conflict there. And I think there's a lot they can provide in terms of oversight, governance, auditability, and so forth. And these are discussions that will, of course, happen. And I like working with Fred. He's a really good guy, as I do like working with Ken Kodama, as I do like working with Nico and so many other people in this ecosystem. They've all become treasured friends in that respect. And some come, some go, but I remember all of them, and I enjoy all of them. And in the coming months, you know, some will enter, some will exit. In the coming months, we're just going to keep chipping away at things. But I'm a lifer in that respect, and I think it's going to be permanently in our portfolio, because, as again, everything we do is about our mission. And we finally have something where we actually see a path to getting the banked the unbanked banked. We finally see something. We have a path where we believe that we can actually deliver a new way of doing business for the world. I can't let that slip through your fingers. It would haunt me for the rest of my life. And I know that people who've invested and put so much effort in terms of time and their brand and their engineering capabilities and scientific capabilities, they want that reality to exist too, as do you, the ecosystem. So, thank you all for coming. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you all for listening. And I wish these Cointelegraph articles would be a bit more fair and deep. You know, it's not nice when you get a little snapshot of things. There's so much nuance behind the way that we do things, and there's so much depth in the way that we do things, and we care so deeply. Every detail matters, from where we put a button in the user interface to a particular parameter in a formula, to how we incentivize behavior, to how we structure experiments, to how we ask questions of what can we do to improve things. And that's never reflected fairly. And so whenever I see an article that I say, come on, let's be better, I always have to make a video every now and then to give a more nuanced view of all of it. This ecosystem belongs to you, the community, and we're working real hard to make sure that that means something for everybody. And we can prove the skeptics wrong, the Vitaliks and the other people who say that on-chain governance is a bad idea. I think it's the only idea that matters. So thanks to you all for listening. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers.